Good evening, all five of you. Anyway, welcome to tonight's study session. And we're here tonight to, nobody wants to really talk about the council's pay, so maybe that's why they're not here. But we'll call the meeting to order, and Mr. Raines, the floor is yours.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, I will lay a bit of the foundation for the dialogue this evening and then hand the baton to Mr. Barber to go through the information that we found. But as the mayor's pointed out, we're here to discuss a topic in study session format. There's not any decisions that'll be made tonight, but we felt it might be an opportunity from a timing perspective to engage the mayor and council on the topic of salary for the elected body. It's not a topic that we have very regularly. In fact, just to give the mayor and council the context, the last time the mayor and council adjusted the salary via ordinance was in 2000 in 2000. So it's been 24 years since this last discussion. But I know that this particular council and past councils have asked staff along the way to do salary surveys so that you have a better understanding of what is happening around us with other communities, and we've done that. And Mr. Barber will talk a little more about that here in a minute. But I thought that given the uniqueness, given the nuances of how you have to apply from a process perspective, salary increases for the elected body, coupled with the fact that we have 3 new members that will be seated in December, that it may be an opportune time to give all of the council an update on the survey data that's been collected and have a candid discussion about where we're at in the market. And so with that, I'm going to hand it over to Scott and let him lay the foundation here. So, Scott.
Thank you, Larry. The League of Arizona Cities and Towns produces on an annual basis what they call their annual salary and benefits survey. And the information that's collected, generally speaking, is effective as of just October 1st of each year. So the data that's available right now is as of 10/1/23, and it's produced as the 2024 League Salary Survey. It includes information from cities and towns and also a little bit of information on Arizona counties as well. So the idea is that pretty much the compensation and benefits changes that take place on July 1st, and they end up looking at October 1st as a convenient
It's a year old, Scott, right? Then it's a year old?
That's right.
2023.
Just 2 weeks ago, my staff completed the most recent survey and sent that information to the league, and so they'll be compiling that information, and they generally produce their league survey in January, about January, February of each year. So the information that's provided to you this evening comes from the 2024 League Salary Survey, the information effective as of 10/1/2023. And in the matrix that you've been provided, we have used the cities and towns that are chosen as our comparators for our employee salary survey every year. We have the comparators that we review each year, and typically we ask council to affirm our comparators before we do our annual salary update. And so you'll see those represented here. So we have 17 cities and towns as our comparators, and we use Pinal County. But Pinal County is not used in this analysis because as an arm of the state, their elected official compensation is basically statutory. It's set by statutes. And so you'll see the information that's been provided in the League Salary Survey for all of our 17 comparators. And the average that's indicated there, you'll see what it's currently our compensation and then a computed variance. And you see at the bottom of the matrix for our mayor compensation in terms of the market comparators that we use for our employee study each year, we're under the market by 30.5% for our mayor compensation and just under 50% for council compensation. And then the specific information for the cities and towns is provided there. And of course, you probably know under our city charter, was adopted in 19...
Scott, do you have a copy we could put on the screen? I know not everybody has their computer.
Mayor, I don't think we did that, sorry.
We might be able, Scott, if you want to continue to speak, I think I might be able to have access to
Make
one.
a copy?
Okay.
Or make copies. I know I didn't.
Get one.
I mean, I can pull it up here. Share.
No, it wasn't on mine. Yeah.
Was it not on the presentation?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
it
it
was
was in
there
this
someday.
update.
Oh, that's where it is. Okay, I saw it.
I knew I saw it somewhere.
Yeah, it's not on the,
Here's his update. No, that's
Probably not last week's, the week before, maybe.
If you want to continue, and we'll see if we can
Certainly,
find something.
Mayor. Under city charter that was adopted in 1975, there is a section, Article 2, Section 9, concerning salaries of mayor and council members, and it says the annual salaries of the mayor and council shall be as determined by ordinance, but shall not be decreased or increased during the current term of city council or council members enacting such ordinance. And that refers specifically to what city manager indicated previously. So that is the basic information on the table this evening for your further consideration. And as we continue to seek that, we'll try to answer any questions that you might have specifically about the data.
See it on Larry's update.
I don't see
I
it
saw it
either.
somewhere.
Larry,
On
was that
this
sent to us somewhere? Was it on the
Was it this week's,
meeting
Larry?
report?
No, it's been a couple of weeks ago
Oh,
when I sent it out.
okay.
And you're asking us to remember something from a couple weeks ago? Here it is, council pay.
On the 27th?
It was on the week before. Okay, I have it here. Can I share?
I sent it to me.
Oh, you want me to send it to you?
Do you have it opened as a?
I have it open. You want me to bring this over there? Can you put it on there?
Well, I don't know that we can share it. You'll have to email it to us, Mayor, in order.
Okay. It's on Larry's update, so I'll send you the whole thing.
Okay.
Your computer, Stephen? On its way. Here they are, if you want to see them. Did you get it?
From the 27th update.
You have the date on the,
27th.
Yeah, it was the
September
week,
27th?
it was the weekly update from 9/27. I have it here.
I remember looking at it, just looking at other cities that.
Yeah, the average for the mayor is 24,636, and the council is 15,698. Those are the averages for the 15 cities that they've looked at.
What was the mayor, 24 what?
24,636.
That's barely their minimum.
Okay.
15,698.
698, okay.
It's
And
54,000 for the
current,
mayor.
Yeah.
current is
38 for council.
18,878 and 10,486.
And 486.
I
Okay.
thought,
We gotta turn on the,
These are not on.
you gotta turn the thing on.
Are these off?
Yeah, our screens are off.
Let's go.
my day off, that's weird.
Somebody turned them off.
Here we go.
Over here.
Oh, there we are.
There we go.
Where's the
They're on
button?
now.
You hold that button.
Hold it down.
Yeah, hold that.
Ah,
There we go.
got it. All right. Good, thank you.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. Thank you.
Yeah, and just, I mean, I'll chime in. This doesn't affect me, but I think it should happen. I think that it's important that we try and keep pace with some of our surrounding cities. And being, we don't do this as a living wage. This is not something that any council member or mayor, at least that I know of, makes a living wage off of this, but it should at least help cover costs that are incurred through the year. And I know for myself personally, over the 8 years that I've been here, and I didn't do this for the money, but it would have been nice to have some reimbursement for the expenses that I did have. And for me personally, if I just take my own personal vehicle, I mean, I have over 100,000 miles on my personal vehicle that are all, or 90% are city miles. And so, could I have used a city vehicle? Yes, I had options to use a city vehicle. I chose not to, and 24,000 for a mayor is pretty good. That's a pretty good deal for the city. It's not expensive, and this is a hard subject for sitting council, so that's why I feel the need to chime up or chime in, because I was the one that suggested we look at this. And I think that, as a member of the community, you need to also remember that these people volunteer their time. And this is not compensation for their time. This is just compensation for wear and tear on people's lives and on their personal vehicles. And, some of the, I don't know what it's called, nastiness, but some of the issues that the council has to deal with are difficult. And so this group up here with me are gluttons for punishment, and I throw myself in that group as well. We do this because we care for our city. We care what happens for our citizens, and this really is a minor part of the overall city's budget. I guarantee there's not a person in the city that gets paid this amount, even the part-timers.
And Mr. Mayor, members of the council, if I can just build on this before we move on to the nuances with council considering salary increases for themselves. First and foremost, as you see by this, you're going to find throughout the state that the pay for elected officials is going to vary location by location. As Mr. Barber pointed out, this is a combination of those cities that we, as a city, can typically compare ourselves to, the comparable cities, when we're looking at our annual salaries for employees. Essentially, what you find is that the majority of these cities are within our population range. And obviously, when you look at the list, you'll see that you're going to find salaries of levels that are higher in the valley than you're going to find in a more rural area, obviously. But I think it is important to note that I don't know that there's any elected official at a local level that's running for the pay. The pay is always secondary to the good work that they want to do for the community, and I think this reflects that. As the mayor was pointing out, when you look at the comparable cities, the average of all of the cities, as I said, some high, some low, for the mayor's 24,636 and 15,698 for the council. Our current salaries are under that, and so just to give you a context, if you wanted to, if the decision was to move to setting the average, which again, based on this data, which is a year old, that would be a $5,758 increase for the mayor position, and it would be a $5,212 increase for the council per person. So in total, that would roughly be $40,000 worth additional cost, just to give you all the context of what we're looking at here. We do have what is not shown on here, and we have a bit of a uniqueness in Casa Grande, where we pay our mayor pro tem in between the mayor and the council wages. We ultimately would have to establish that based on any direction that we may get, and would obviously look to do so. But I want, if Scott can, talk a little bit about what I consider to be the nuances related to salary, because there are some constitutional issues that essentially suggest that this existing council, it's all based on term. I'm going to ask Mr. Graffius to help as well, but essentially, if the council elects to give an increase in pay, those that are in their existing term cannot recognize that. You actually have to wait until your following term, be reelected, before you would ultimately be eligible for a pay increase. And so when I said a minute ago that the uniqueness of us having 3 new council members, essentially those, if the mayor and council elects to have to increase the salaries, then it will be those 3 new council members that will benefit from your decision, and the existing council would not actually benefit until the next term, 2 years from now.
So 2 years.
Yeah.
And can I just ask a question, Scott? Is there a matrix for, I know that we're fortunate enough as a council that we get insurance and we get vehicle gas reimbursement, and then we get a stipend, if you will, for internet. Do we have a matrix of if other cities do that?
The reported data for the League of Cities and Towns Salary Survey did include a question relating to health insurance benefits for elected officials. And of our 17 comparators, 14 do, 3 do not. Oro Valley, Prescott, and Sierra Vista are the 3 comparator entities that don't provide that benefit, but 14 report providing that benefit. As far as the other aspects, those are not reported.
Okay. Thank you.
And I think that, Councilmember McBride, I think that will vary from city to city. We see that some cities do provide auto allowance, other cities do provide some type of a cell phone stipend and the like, and so it really becomes a bit unique from city to city once you get into those other types of benefits. Mr. Mayor, if I can, just perhaps provide a bit of information related to the process, should the mayor and council desire the staff to put together an ordinance. So the ordinance would have to be considered on November the 4th, with the second read on November the 18th. Essentially, both reads prior to the December 2nd council meeting. Obviously, that's when the new council would be coming on board. So if this is something that the mayor and council this existing mayor and council would ultimately desire to have the newest members benefit from, we would need to take action at the 2 meetings in November. They would obviously have to pass by in this particular case, it's a supermajority, right, Mark? A supermajority vote, the ordinance?
Not if it's just a regular
Oh,
ordinance.
okay,
Yeah, just a regular ordinance would be, a majority.
okay.
But I think the supermajority only comes into effect when it's an emergency.
Right.
So, but I do want to point out that, as most of you guys know, that after the second reading, there's what's called like a 30-day waiting period, so people can refer ordinances to the electors. So the ordinance, even though it's adopted in November, so it meets the criteria of being adopted prior to the new council, it won't actually be effective until 30 days after the 18th. So it would really start at the first pay period after December 18th for the new council members.
Yeah, which is, we get paid in arrears anyway, so, I mean, that would be a normal process. It would be the January.
pay.
Right, January pay period,
Yeah.
correct.
So, wouldn't affect me, though.
That's fair. We're proud for you.
Or Donna. Donna doesn't get affected either, so. But yeah, no, I mean, I just think it's the right thing to do. I know it's never comfortable, because this is, you vote yourself a raise, but it's still not much. Yeah, Bob? Go
Yeah.
ahead.
I'm glad we're looking at the established salary survey cities. I think that's very wise. And I'm wondering if we should head down a path that these are included in the annual salary survey so that subsequent councils always know where they are, and if they want to vote a raise in at the end of the year, they can certainly do that. But I think one of our shortcomings is we've waited so long. And, but I think it would be good for the organization, because people look at that, you know, they want to see not only how much am I making, but how much is my boss making. But I think it would be good for the organization, for them to see how much the council members and the mayor is making, because it's not much, you know.
Yeah, right.
And,
Yeah, and somebody said, we don't want people to run for office because of the pay. And I totally agree with that. And I don't think we're in danger of that right now.
no, but I think the opposite is true too. We don't want somebody to shy away from it because the pay's
Can't
so
afford-
low. Well,
yeah,
I'm not
right.
going to do that. You know, I think we want to stay competitive, and
The average.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is just the average. This is not, we're not like top quartile. We're not talking about top quartile salaries here. So, does anybody else have any comments or questions? Oh, and it wouldn't affect Jeff either, so. So, we're the three that it won't affect. Well, and you too, you also.
Right.
And you.
Well, just so people, I mean, you give most of it back anyway by going to all the events we go to. So, like,
All the auction
yeah,
items
auction
and
items and tickets and everything else we
Sponsorships.
do. So we didn't get into it for the money.
No,
I agree.
yeah.
Mr. Mayor, I do think it's important to Councilmember Herman's comment. I'm not aware that there are any full-time mayors or council members in this list, right? We fall into a category based on our comparables.
I believe
that
you're correct,
that
Mayor.
most of these individuals are not what I would consider to be
Yeah.
full-time, but certainly as a full-time elected official, but certainly many of these organizations have enough activity that that the elected body is working more regularly than perhaps they have in the past. That would be very similar to Casa Grande.
Well, and I would say that especially the community our size, the mayor's
The mayor
position
is a full-time job.
definitely is a full-time job. It's not, we have way too much going on for it not to be. And the mayor really is the one who represents the city in Phoenix, and at the legislature and at the league and all of the things that we are involved in these days. It's just, I think it's kind of mission critical that there be some compensation for it's the wear and tear on the person and the wear and tear on the personal property and things like that it will help. Plus all the events that you go to. I mean, we pay out of pocket for some of these events that we go to. Some we are paid for, but some are not. And so, anyway, I think it's the right thing to do, and like I said, I think I'm in that opportunity. I'm in that zone, that opportunity zone where I think this is the right thing to do, and to help future mayors and council members. So.
Mr. Mayor, is the direction for staff to draft an ordinance that would bring us to the average and
say yes.
essentially establish the variance for the mayor pro tem position to the similar?
Yeah, I mean, that would be my direction. If anybody has counter direction to that, now would be the time to speak up.
The only thing I will say is that you made a really good point. 20 years ago, the mayor position was, 1 or 2 days a week. And we all know that you have made it a full-time. And so you have set that precedence that, and when you look at the difference, it was 5,000, close to 5,000 for each. And I'm just not, I'm not sure whether, we need to look at the one for the mayor position a little bit differently, because we do need to make sure that, you know, somebody is being reimbursed, you know, for that in the years to come. We don't want to wait another 20 years to do this. So
Yeah, I think
that's
that
my
Bob-
only
And I
comment.
think Bob suggested it maybe in our annual compensation package that we look
Right.
at this on an annual basis, or it'd be part of the evaluation, right? Part of the employees' compensation evaluation. And if it, you know, gets out of whack again, then I'd recommend it be adjusted. And maybe there's a way to adjust it so the council doesn't have to vote on it every time.
Well, Mr. Mayor, the mayor and council would have to
has to
consider
vote.
an ordinance to establish the salary every year under that particular guidance.
Okay.
And you're going to have the same constitutional requirement that you cannot be setting.
vote
So you would
yourself a raise, yeah,
ultimately, you
okay.
may want to look at it every couple of years.
Okay.
When you're going to have a transition of council, that may be more wise.
Okay. Can we kind of bake that into the process?
Absolutely. I mean, this
Okay.
data is available to us
I would
at the
feel
same time, but
Okay.
I think it's the.
Then maybe that's the way to
it's
do
the
it.
process and the nuances related that I think
Have it
that is
done
ultimately.
prior to elections in an election year?
Right. That may be,
Which would
that
be
may
every-
be something
every 2 years.
that's more understandable.
Okay. I'm good with that. Anybody else
Yes.
have
I
any
like it.
objections? No?
Okay.
I think you have some head nods. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, well, we will stand adjourned for, 3 minutes. Okay.
Only 3 minutes.